Tuesday edition of the Romeo program coming your way, 646-492-2436. Good to be with you. It strikes me that this is the last bastion of freedom of expression that we can enjoy in 2021. I say that with a thrill. If you don't hear my voice, you don't hear the happiness in my voice, you're not listening very closely, because I'm thrilled that I'm a part of it. Because social media, which is the platform for many, and let's face it, where we get our information these days, we can't go to the newspaper, print gets on our hands. We won't have that in modern society these days. There are no newspapers strewn about on a subway train traditionally, the way they used to be, but we get our information via social media. But as you know, the cancel culture in full throttle will destroy you if you come out on the wrong end. If you listen to my program, you'll know that I'm far from conservative. I'm not liberal. I have no label. I march to the beat of my own drummer. I don't deal with political sides. I don't take one. But I do have opinions. And if my opinion should fly in the face of political correctness, then I'm up Schitt's Creek. Pardon me, I can't say that on terrestrial, but I just did. I'm up a creek without that proverbial paddle. So, in this age of people being expunged as if they never existed, you have to watch everything you say, except here. Talk radio. This format in particular, where I speak from the heart, no script, extemporaneously. You participate by texting or calling. Tonight, it'll be a text. Again, that aforementioned number, 646-492-2436. The point I'm trying to make is that I can speak and not be censored. I can talk off the top of my head, and when you say thousands of words, you have a career that hinges on the fact that you're spouting thousands of words per day, not watching every single word coming out of your mouth. You're bound to say something that offends someone somewhere along the line, and I do it often. And one person will cheer and run to be on my side while another will shun me. Well, that's a wonderful thing. You may not think so. You may think, how do you stand the heat, Romeo? How do you take it making as many enemies as you do friends? Well, that's the price you pay for doing this for a living. I do it in two other places aside from this one. But that's the price you pay. But again, this is it. This is the platform for true freedom of speech, freedom of expression, letting the chips fall where they may, not measuring every single word out of your mouth. Because social media has become a land of Orwellian dictatorship. Now, again, I was mentioning before I got off on a tangent, I'm not conservative, but the conservatives, and I have to admit, are being boxed out. They're not allowed their radical opinion, or maybe the anarchist who hates everyone, wants to create havoc and chaos. They're being boxed out. In other words, any and all words that don't fit in to the societal norms of the day are thought to be detrimental. or harmful or, and here's the word they use all the time, dangerous. It's dangerous to disagree. It's dangerous to spout all those crackpot theories that you spout, that you find on a regular basis all over until they're taken out, as I mentioned before. Well, let me tell you something. Freedom of expression is only effective if those crackpots, so-called crackpots, as long as they're not threatening anyone, that's in a separate category. I would never condone threats and violent talk. But as long as that talk or banter or whatever you want to call it is relatively innocuous when you compare it to violence, well, that person has the right to say anything that he pleases. And I should take that last statement back. He used to have the right to say anything he pleases. No longer. No longer. Except here. And that's what makes it so great. And that's why I'm thrilled to be a part of this. That's why when I see someone whom I disagree with vehemently, this is not about me sticking up for my friends and my cronies, the ones that fall on the same side of the aisle that I do. No, this is about sticking up for those that I disagree with, sometimes vehemently, and standing up for the right for him to say what he wants to say. So as they pick and choose as to whom they cancel, as to whom they eliminate, they expunge, I'm just going to sit here, or stand here in this case, as I walk around my bedroom. I'm just going to stand here and stick up for those goofballs who say those wackadoodle things. Because that's what it's all about, folks. That's what it's all about. That's what this country was about. And sadly, that's exactly what we've lost. And here's the thing that'll bring a tear to your eye. And if it doesn't, well, look in the mirror. The fact that we've lost that is probably the greatest tragedy that we've experienced. Probably more so than this insidious virus of ours. Probably more so than the last 4 years, the debacle that was the Trump administration. Probably more so than the other maladies that seem to never, ever go away. The loss of our freedoms is probably the worst tragedy. And they say I'm being melodramatic sometimes when I speak this way. I don't agree. I say tragedy is appropriate. I think it suits exactly what I'm trying to get across because it is a tragedy. And when someone who disagrees with me is ousted, canceled, taken out of the public spotlight because he or she didn't play by the rules, it worries me every single time because they're going to come for me next. And they're going to come for this format next. This talk radio format that was pioneered by some great people way back. I mean, can I go through the names for you? Can I mention a Long John Neville? Can I mention a Barry Gray? Can I mention a Barry Farber? Now, you talked about Barry Farber. He comes to mind. I disagreed with every single thing he said, but I still used to enjoy listening to him as a young guy. And there was no danger, there's that word, of him being canceled because the culture was so much better. I was going to say different, but I'll say better, because that's exactly what it was. Because what you're experiencing right now should nauseate you. Nauseate you. It should frighten you, but it should also make you sick. And, you know, they say everything goes 360, does a full circle. So everything that's being lost right now will eventually come around again, and we'll start from scratch. I hope that's the case, but I was going to say before that once you've lost this precious freedom of ours, it is almost impossible to regain. Almost impossible to get back. 646-492-2436. Some great ones have been canceled. Some wonderful people who had outstanding careers, intelligent, groundbreaking careers have been canceled because of one, could I say, slip up? One time when he misspoke. I say he because it seems that the males, can I even differentiate between the sexes anymore without getting stepped on? I wonder, but I'll do it. Because the males are the ones in that powder keg that I described. The males are the ones who seem to get canceled. Wouldn't you agree? And dare I say, the white males are more often canceled. Ooh, Romeo, don't say that. I look at the statistics. Well, here goes. I let it fly 4 times a week here. We begin at 8 o'clock. That's Eastern time. 5 o'clock on the West Coast. The number to communicate, to get your text read on the air. And you know, this wonderful show of ours has a reach across the country. Dare I say, across the globe. And at WPAT930am.com, we stream there. When you go to that site, when you go to that WPAT930am.com site, you'll see a little box. You barely see it. You click that little box and you hear this show with a small delay, something like 10 seconds. But you hear it live streaming, and I don't get a chance for a second try like they do in movies. You know, I've done a few myself, and you get a few takes. Well, this format, this wonderful format, it's one time and one time only. I either say it the way I want to say it. I don't get a second chance, so I got to do it right the first time. 646-492-2436. Ponder that one. Comment as you see fit, and we'll go from there. And every time I get a text, I get a big smile on my face because the listenership, as I was going to say before, is we're really rolling on this program. Now, I've been back. How many shows have I had since my return? Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. 3 shows before this evening since my return, and the audience is growing larger than ever. I don't know how they found out, because WPAT, as you know, does no advertising to speak of. I don't know how they found out that I was on the air once again after a hiatus that I had, but they did, and they're right back with me like I never left. And they say this is the best compliment that I can get. Hey, Romeo, I don't agree with you, but you've never missed a beat. You never missed a beat. You came back on the air like you've never left. And that's what I'm happy about. So what do you think about the governor now? What do you think about the droning governor now? Is he going to be impeached? Are members of his party coming down on him? now. They say that even members of his party are turning, even those who are on his side after his storied threatening phone call that I spoke about on the air a couple of times, Assemblyman Kim, pretty much just threatening him, something to the effect that, Assemblyman, hey, Kim, if you don't come out with an apology, you don't agree with me, you don't retract everything you've said, I'm going to make your life miserable. I'm going to ruin your career. I'm going to take you out of office. That's the way the governor operates, I hear. Will he get his just desserts? Will he be ousted for condoning for signing the bill or signing the legislature or signing the go-ahead to put those COVID patients, house them with the elderly in the nursing homes? Will he get his just desserts? Answer, no. No, you can see it right now. If you can read the tea leaves, like I read the tea leaves, if you're good at it, you're a prognosticator. I fancy myself a prognosticator. I like to predict things. I got about an 80% success rate. I see the writing on the wall, if you will. I see that he's going to weasel out of this one too, folks. Don't you see it? Don't you see CNN still covering the insurrection? Don't you see the other major networks, for some reason, I don't know why, laying off Governor Cuomo? I see it. He's going to skate, as they say. He is going to skate. He won't pay at all for his misgivings. Take my word for that one, folks. Come back and tell me, you were right, buddy, and I'll say I told you so. He won't pay a lick for his misgivings. I guarantee it. He's going to slide. He's going to skate like he always has. And the little brother on CNN is going to make him look good in the process, believe me. 646-492-2436. We have a bunch of texts. I'll read them in a second. 646-492-2436. If you don't know, I have to say it one more time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 consecutive days. Sunday, 9 o'clock. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, 9 o'clock. They're going to get Trump on tax returns. They're going to get him on the payoffs to the porn star. I hate the term porn star. I'd rather say porn girl, porn actor, porn actress. What makes these lowlife stars? Can someone tell me that? Certainly, if you show your private parts and you do all sexual acrobatics on film, does it make you a star? That's just an aside. I can't stand it. These porn actresses, this porn actress, the payoffs, everything else. Will they get Trump? They want to throw him in jail. They want to teach it. They want to cancel him. And as you know, as you listen to this program through the last, 10 years, I don't care for Trump. But here's my thought on the failed president. Let's forget him. Let's pretend he never existed. Let's make him a meaningless footnote in history. Let's say to ourselves, we're better than that. We're better than seeking revenge against this dolt. Let's forget him and move on, because the impeachment was a farce. Impeaching a private citizen is always this effort in impeaching a private citizen just to make sure that he doesn't run again is a disgrace, a waste of money, a waste of energy, waste of time. hear me, in the throes of an unprecedented pandemic, we were busy trying to impeach an ousted president, a failed president, a beaten president. And make no mistake, I mentioned it before and I got a lot of flack for it. Check it out. You don't have to believe me. I state facts. He got killed at the polls. Biden took him to the cleaners. When all was said and done, Biden beat him like a used rug. That election that the goofball down the dial, Rudy Giuliani, the goofball down the dial, Jeanine Pirro, the goofball down the dial, Bernie McGurk, the goofball down the dial, Mark Simone, that election that they claim was stolen was a landslide. He was beaten badly. Let's forget him. Let's pretend he never existed. Let's take that high road. Let's move on with our lives instead of being immersed in this vengeance to try to get Trump. It's sick. It is sick. And I can't stand the guy. You're listening to someone who can't stand the guy. I won't say I despise him. I've said that in the past, but it makes me feel bad to say I despise anyone. So can't stand is a little, I don't know, that's a little more tame. Can't stand the guy. Not the point. The only reason they're trying to do what they're trying to do is to prevent him from running in 2024 and to humiliate him. But I used to think we were better than that, but we're not. Never underestimate the ignorance of the American people, because it has no bounds. It really has no limits. I am telling you. 646-492-2436. I'll check those texts right now. Let's see what we have here. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay. Glad that you're back, my buddy Val. Thank you, Val. Appreciate it. That's Val in Manhattan. Here's the principal qualitative observation concerning political labels and camp following in the present era. Liberal, in quotes, and conservative have no substantive meanings or programs beyond the yelling. When, if ever, do you hear a heated liberal or a conservative get down to brass tacks and state the specific policies or practical policies under their banner that manifest their political banner? None. They all cultivate and curry favor with mindless, lupin proletariat, and they want devotees, mindless cult followers, not policy supporters. It's all about heated feeling, not clear-eyed consideration. That's how you got a crowd of torch and pitchfork peasants to storm the Capitol. That's our friend Bob. Let me speak a little bit, Bob, about that insurrection. It was an insurrection. I hear it. It depends on where you're listening to, where your allegiance lies, where you go to for your news, as to what they even call that insurrection. But it was an insurrection. Was it incited by former President Trump? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Now, go there. Now, the exact words he used don't come to me right now, so you'll forgive me. But man, oh man, while those hee-haws, while those yahoos were in full riot gear, storming the Capitol, doing what the hell they were doing, what did President Trump do to stop them after he made his comment in support of them? prompting them, goading them, telling them to go ahead. Now, did he say go there and destroy everything? No, he didn't have to. He didn't have to. Do you know what a guru that man is? Still, to these people that need someone to follow. Still, to this day, if Mr. Trump ran tomorrow, he'd garner 70,000 votes. Did nothing to stop it. Remained silent as they stormed the Capitol. It was an insurrection. And it was encouraged by former President Trump. And I still want to forget him. I don't want to punish him for it. I want to forget him. I want to pretend he never existed. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. We have, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, geez. I'm trying to get these texts up. Bear with me, bear with me. Oh my God, bear with me, bear with me. Not working for me tonight with these texts. Not working. Okay. Only the lawyers prosper as usual, our friend Rosemary says. Okay. Our friend Jessica out there in California, the insurrection was all that it was cracked up to be. Never before did we have anything like that happen, and I never want to see it again. You're absolutely right. Ida, right here in New York City. How about that? Right in my own backyard. Ida says that you're on point with everything you said, except for former President Trump, a man who never got his just due, a man who was treated unfairly the moment he was put into office, never got a chance to accomplish what he set out to accomplish because of his enemies. Let me tell you something about that, Ida. I'm with you to the point that no president can get anything done in this current climate. I would suggest to you that if I had been elected 4 years ago, I would be in the midst of gridlock. I would be trying to wrestle with my adversaries and try to get something done, because all that Washington is, Ida, is glorified gridlock. All that they do is just wrestle and fail and wrestle and fail again. They don't accomplish much of anything. And you're right, Ida. And again, you know my feelings on President Trump. You're right. You're right. They got it in their mind, all the powers that be, that he was not going to get anywhere, and he certainly did not. But now the one thing that I'll say about President Trump, he failed on so many fronts that I wonder, I don't even remember what his promises were. Now, I like the one thing, and I wanted to get to that, and I will get to that, but let's talk about it now. The one thing that I liked about what he did, his treatment of Iran. Now, you're talking about a rogue nation that wants to wipe everybody off the map. Now, if you don't know anything about Iran and their policies, their lack thereof, I should say, they want to wipe everyone off the map. They are, I was talking anarchy before. It's Iran against the world. Any pact that was ever made with that rogue country was never kept. Any promise, any agreement, nothing. Any accord, nothing was ever kept. And Trump treated them like the dogs that they are. Now, when I'm talking about I'm not talking about the Iranian people. The Iranian people, I suppose, are wonderful people. I know some Iranian people, and I think about that before I say something as strongly as I'm saying it. But I know a lot of Iranian people, wonderful people. I'm talking about the despotic government of Iran. That's what I'm talking about. Trump took him to the cleaners. He treated them like the like the despots they are. And that's the one thing I applaud the former President Trump for, and I do appreciate that. Aldo, in Italy, Aldo, my friend in Naples. In your country, the COVID virus, the casualties of the COVID virus has reached the 500,000 mark. How do you feel about it? How do you think I feel about it? How do you think I feel about it? Do you happen to remember the early days of COVID? Do you happen to remember the failures of one Dr. Fauci in saying it was nothing? It was going to Dr. Fauci, Mr. Brooklyn, the sexiest man in the world, you know, the whole thing that they went through. It was nothing. Nothing. Do you remember Donald Trump ignoring the pandemic in its early stages and paying little attention to it throughout? Yeah, I do. I certainly do. And I certainly am well aware, Aldo, of the 500,000 people who have passed because of this. And they say those statistics aren't true. These people die of other reasons. Hey. If it's 400,000 instead of 500,000, my dismay is still there. I am still reeling over 500,000 dead. We've dealt with this virus terribly. We have done such a miserable job dealing with this virus. It's laughable. If it wasn't so sad, if it wasn't so tragic, I'd get a good chuckle from it. It's a joke. It is a joke. Do you know how much serum, how much vaccine on medical shelves right now? Do you know how much is on medical shelves right now and not in people's arms? Why? Why is that? Why can't it go from the lab to the facility into the people's arms? Why do we have to pick and choose as to whom is qualified to get these shots, this vaccine? Why? Why can't we line up at the ShopRite? Why can't we line up at the CVS? Why can't we line up at the Walmart, the Walgreens, the Duane Reade, Central Park? Why can't we line up and get our shots, our 2 vaccines, which the experts say that we need? Why can't we? Because there's so much goddamn red tape in this country. It is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. If you have the idea that you want to get that shot and you cannot get it, for some reason you can't fight through that red tape, you can't get your appointment, you can't get down there and to this facility that has a limited amount of vaccine available. Do you know how much Pfizer has put out? Yeah, you know how much the other pharmaceutical companies have created? How much vaccine is left unused right now? Do you know when May and June, July roll around and 40% or maybe 50% of the population still isn't vaccinated? All that stuff is going to go out. But we're going to have herd immunity by then, and all that stuff is going to go out the window to waste. I want the vaccine. I want to get it. You want the vaccine. You want to get it. But you can't get it because this country sucks at this type of thing. We are the worst. We are a laughing stock around the world, the way we've handled this, the way we've let our old people, our elderly, our treasured elderly die at the hands of these idiotic governors. Because we can't get... See, here's the thing, what happened in this country, and what happens all the time in this country, partly because we are always wrestling with each other. We can't agree on anything. We went state by state in the handling. Instead of having a unified doctrine, a unified attack approach to this thing, we went state by state and each state handled it differently. What you got in the state of New York was much different than you got in the state of Florida. What you got out in California was much different than you got in the state of Texas, and so on and so forth. We've never unified on this. Do you know by now that vaccine should be available everywhere? Every major outlet, anywhere you go for different items you need or different services rendered, there should be an outpost there or a stand there, whatever you want to call it, that you can go and get that shot in the arm and at least walk around like you're not going to die. Now, I won't give it to my mother. And I may be a hypocrite on that. But the point is, if I wanted to give it to my mother, who's 86 years old, rather frail, if I wanted to, I'd have to fight like hell. Fight like hell to get it in her arm. To have one of these dopes finally put it in her arm. I had to go jump through hoops to get it done. I'm not doing it because instinct tells me, you tell me if I'm doing the right thing, because I would ask you, and I want your opinion on this. Instinct tells me a frail woman like my mother, who's been through the mill, who has dementia and had a couple of heart attacks just recently, it's just at this point, just frail. I would say, she's sitting comfortably right now listening to the program, but just frail right now. Am I wrong not to vaccinate her? But because my instinct, my gut, tells me that this could be, I hate to say this, but it's the way I feel, the final nail in the coffin kind of a thing, the last straw kind of a thing. I almost feel that if she's gone this far and she's not come down with this hideous virus so far, why should I push the envelope? Am I doing the right thing? I think I am. And no matter what you say, I'm not going to vaccinate her at this juncture. And although she has two doctors, one doctor suggests that I do vaccinate, the other suggests that I don't. And that's why I'm pulled, from one end to the other with this. I don't know. But I just feel in my heart, because of reactions that some people have had, when you get that vaccine, reports have been filed that some people get they just get a little bit, they get some symptoms afterwards. They maybe run a slight fever. They feel as though they have a small, kind of, they have this virus, very, very, very lean, not a strong case of it, but they don't feel up to par. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but I don't want to get her vaccinated. I don't know. Who knows about these things? 646-492-2436. What happened to Tiger Woods? Remember Tiger Woods when do you remember Tiger Woods? It turns out he was banging every porn actress there was out there. Turns out he was running around like nobody's ever run around on their wife, years back. And you know what struck me as hilarious? That Tiger Woods, I cannot stand Tiger Woods. I cannot tell you how much I despise. I said the word now. I said I wouldn't, but I'm about to say it. I despise Tiger Woods. I hate his arrogant attitude. I can't stand his demeanor, the way he treated people, all that nonsense. He thinks he's superhuman, all the things that made up Tiger Woods. I can't stand the guy. I laughed like hell when he came down that driveway with his wife, his ex-wife, chasing him with a golf club. The very tool that made him a multi-millionaire, made him the best-known athlete in the world, was used on him by his ex-wife, chasing him down the driveway, swinging the golf club. I mean, if that's not hilarious to you, man, you had better check yourself. That struck me so funny. Well, today seems as though he wrapped himself around a What did he do? Was he wrapped around a telephone pole? I don't know what he did. Got into a major accident. First, they said they tried to use the jaws of life on him, and now that story has been debunked. I don't think that they were actually using the jaws of life. But, man, it couldn't. I wish him no harm. When somebody gets into an accident, I really, I wish him the best, no matter how I feel about him. But here's a guy who just had back surgery again. He was hooked. It turns out before this, he was hooked on opiates like so many millions of Americans are. The doctors start them up, and they never see the light of day again. You know, the opiate story that you've heard time and time again. The opiate addict can't get his pills anymore out in the street doing heroin. You know that age-old story. Well, seems as though he had his back surgery. Seems as though he got into a terrible accident. Seems as though he's on the opiates again. Well, I wish Tiger Woods speedy recovery. But man, oh man, this is a fall from grace, isn't it? Remember when he was unbeatable? Unbeatable. That's what Tiger Woods was. Remember when Tiger Woods was unbeatable? Yeah, I do. I remember too, but then they caught up with him. Then he became a mere mortal again. Then all the white boys caught up with him and surpassed him. Isn't that something? And I remember when Tiger was invincible, how he looked down his nose on everyone. Well, only when he was humbled by his quote-unquote ordinary play, when he became human again. Do you remember when Tiger wasn't pounding the golf ball 300 yards, wasn't beating his opponents by 20 strokes? Remember when he became human again? Only then did he say, "Oh, I'm sorry for the way I acted before. Please, Mr. and Mrs. Front Porch, forgive me." Only then did Tiger Woods show any humility whatsoever. You know, it took a real chop in the knees. It took him to be taken down a few pegs for him to show any humanity, any humility. Well, screw you, and I hope you're better. I hope you're doing well. I don't wish anybody any harm. But you know about karma, don't you? And that brings me to Rush Limbaugh. I mentioned it a few times to you before. Let me talk about Rush Limbaugh for a second. Used to be one of his callers way back. I think he started in 1988. I used to call him all the time. Got on the air. You had to have a special number to get in there. I acquired that number way back. I used to. Back then, my political views were a little bit different than they are now. But I talked to him on the phone several times. I was able to get through with that magic number that I had. And when he needed an adversary, I used to do the same thing with blockhead Sean Hannity, too. They used to call me when they needed an opposing viewpoint and put me on the air against some conservative guy. They said I did the same thing with Rush going way back, further back than, than Sean Hannity. Never agreed with Rush. Never really found his program particularly amusing or insightful. I didn't think he was a brilliant man. I sure didn't think he was an intellectual of any kind. A groundbreaker. What does he care what I think? He made, he was pulling in $100 million a year at the top of his game. What does he care what Romeo thinks of him? I understand that. Just give him my opinion. Didn't think he was in a class with a lot of the talk show hosts. Our local talk show host of great fame, Bob Grant. Rush rode his coattails. Rush, the departed Rush Limbaugh, rode his coattails. But not taking anything away from Rush. And after stating what I've just stated to you about my feelings, talking about social media at the top of the program, the treatment that he's getting upon his death is disgraceful. There are people dancing in the street because he's dead, dancing on his grave because he's dead, bad-mouthing him. And I know maybe I didn't think he was the greatest, but I thought he was a decent guy. I just got a good feeling I disagreed with him, didn't think he was great at what he did, although the numbers say otherwise. But his parodies at the beginning were much better. His show evolved to something I didn't care for. I thought the earlier Rush Limbaugh was far, just more avant-garde, better in the beginning. But the treatment after, the lowest thing in the world is to dance on someone's grave. The lowest thing in the world is to be happy when even someone you disagree with or even your enemy dies. To be happy when they go and to ridicule them and disrespect their families. All of the above is the lowest thing that anybody could do. I just think it's disgraceful what they've done to him since he's died. I think it's absolutely disgraceful. 646-492-2436. We do this thing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday at 8 o'clock. You want to hear something you haven't heard? Maybe you missed a program. Maybe you missed the first 20 minutes of this program or something like that. Go to YouTube, Romeo Radio on YouTube. I put my beautiful girl Cynthia puts up everything right there after the program. So anything you have missed, you can find it at Romeo Radio on YouTube. And I'm going to be doing more Twitch. That's a live show that I'll do almost every day. I won't say every day, but I'll get on that Twitch, that app Twitch. I hope you have that. Twitch, about 5 times a week. You can actually see my face. I'll do it from my home studio. Get on there for about 40 minutes, talk about the issues of the day or things that make me laugh or a little exercise and nutrition, whatever the case is. So find me on Twitch, Ralph Romeo, Romeo. Find me on YouTube, Romeo Radio, and find me right here. And find me on Sirius Radio. But mostly, make sure you find me here on WPAT. Let's go to our text. Somebody who didn't identify himself. They don't name kids Tiger. He or she said, I don't know who it is. They don't name kids Tiger much anymore. That's true. That's certainly true. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Wow. All right. Let's see what we have here. The attorneys are very happy with President Trump's departure. I don't know what that means. My friend Harry sent that from Brooklyn. Okay, I'm told by someone that's far smarter than I am. Twitch is, you'll find me on Twitch, Ralph Romeo Channel. Ralph Romeo Channel. That's how you find me on Twitch. There's a town I know where the hipsters go called Bedrock. Twitch. That's the last Twitch I ever heard. I used to I was calling it Snatch. I was calling it Swatch. I was calling it Switch. But it's actually Twitch. It'll take me a while to get it right. When I called it Snatch, everybody laughed for obvious reasons. I never used that word to describe anything I've ever seen in my life, but you know how it is. That's what came out of my mouth. I have no idea why. Hey, you want to send me a letter? Multicultural Radio, Ralph Romeo, 40 Exchange Place, 2nd floor, New York City, 10005. One more time. Get the paper, get the pen. A multicultural radio. Ralph Romeo, ROMEO, RALPH, 4040 Exchange Place, second floor, New York City, 10005. If you want to get me during off hours, I have some great conversations with everyone out there. It's fantastic. You can call me at 646-492-2436. I generally keep the phone on all the time. When I go to sleep, I do turn it off. So I can't say all the time, but I do turn it off at night. You won't wake me up, I promise. You can call me anytime. I take some phone calls for about an hour after the program. If you want to talk about something I've talked about tonight or anything that's on your mind, it's fine with me. And, you know, as I mentioned in the past, and it's worth mentioning again, and I opened the program with something similar. Anything's fair game. I mean, if everybody agreed with everybody, it'd be a very dull world. Anything is fair game. We don't have to call each other names. Don't hate me because of my political proclivities. Don't hate me because of any other reason. Disagree with me. But here's the thing. Tell me why. Tell me why you disagree. Don't just say you're an asshole, an idiot, a fool. You know, I disagree with you. Tell me why. Give me legitimate reasons or give me a remedy to the problem I'm trying to solve, and I'll laud you for it. I'll praise you for it. I'll hold you in high regard for it. That's the way it should go, and that's what we're not capable of doing at the present time. If we can get that part back, if we can see a Ronald Reagan break bread or share a drink with Tip O'Neill back in 1980, can't we get along in 2021? You know what I mean? It used to be the harshest adversaries. After they were through throwing it around, whether it be on the Senate floor or anywhere else, they can go out for a drink, go out for dinner. They can commingle. They can talk to each other. We can't do that anymore. We don't seem capable. I want to bring it back. I want to bring that back. I think that's very important. That needs to be brought back. If anything needs to be brought back, civility needs to be brought back. Edgar Allan Poe, you say? No. Edgar, Staten Island, New York. You're the greatest, Romeo. And I'm not even related to... Edgar says, you're the greatest, Romeo. And here's what he said. I'm not even related to you, and I'm not gay. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Barry, Utah, with the Mormons. Barry said, love my good and plenty. Barry said, really rings a bell. Barry said, love my good and plenty. I never met a candy that I love so well. No, he didn't say that. Barry said that I have many hats. Oh, this is the guy with the hats again. He likes this. Second time, you wear many hats. You wear a political hat. You wear a philosopher's hat. You also seem to be athletic and talk nutrition sometimes, as you mentioned before. Please do more shows on nutrition. I get mixed reviews when I do nutrition. Some people really love it. They really get a lot out of it. And then some say, why are you talking about that stuff? You can't make everybody happy, as you know. Why do you talk about that stuff? I tune in to listen to your views on hard issues. I don't come here to listen to exercise and nutrition talk. Well, when I had more time on the air, I would do that. But now I just have limited time, an hour each show, and, I think I'm going to stick to the issues. I may, come across a night when I don't have much to say on those fronts, and I may talk a little exercise, nutrition, so make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you stay tuned. 3 people say to give that address again, so I'll give it one more time. Multicultural Radio, Ralph Romeo, 40 Exchange Place, second floor, New York City, 10005. Remember the phone number as we wind it down. It goes so quickly. 646-492-2436. Call or text anytime. 646-492-2436. You want to hear me at 6 a.m. in the morning? You get in touch with me. I'll tell you how. You want to follow me on, what is that again? For God's sakes, Twitch. It never comes to me. You want to follow me on Twitch? Go to my Ralph Romeo channel on Twitch. Find the things you haven't heard on YouTube, Romeo Radio on YouTube, but make sure you join me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday right here. Let me say something in the final minute. If you have your mother, your father, who's up in age, not doing too well, you're not sure when you're able to see them because of this virus, utilize what we have today that we didn't have in the past. Utilize the visual where you can call and get them on the screen and spend some time with them. That's very important. Do that for me. I'll see you tomorrow night, right here, 8 o'clock. Love you. Glad you're there. Thank you for your listenership. See you tomorrow night at 8.